don't know. To me, I don't hear too much of a difference. I will have to have him say it.
Okay. Basically, I'm gonna say it again, and this is what you listen for. It's either roof or roof, roof or roof.
It's like a dog bark.
Rough. That's rough. Whatever. Okay. So here the Torah tells us. Here, I'm going to read the verse. When you build a new house, who would have thought that the Torah would talk about construction law? Yes, the Torah talks about construction law. When you build a new house, you shall make a guard rail for your roof, so that you should not cause blood to be spilled in your house, that the one who falls should fall from it, the roof. And you're probably thinking, what a complicated way to say, put a guardrail for safety. Safety first. Okay, the point of the mitzvah is that if you have a roof that people can go up on, you cannot leave a liability. You cannot leave a dangerous, it's your property. You have to make sure that your property is not a dangerous place to be. Now, you could ask the question, who gives them the right to go up on my roof? And if they go up on my roof, they should be careful. And it's on them, it's not on me. Don't blame me. I had nothing to do with it. Not my problem. The Torah says it is your problem. It's your problem, your house, your problem. Your property, you got to make sure that it's safe. This becomes the template for Jewish safety law. If you have a front if you have a front walk and it's snowing or it's icy, what would the implication of this law be? You got to take care of it. You can't leave a dangerous thing in your area. By the way, guess what else? Talked about dogs before. If somebody has a dangerous animal, a dangerous dog, you know what the implication is? Even if it's on your property, it has to be properly protected and secured. If it's dangerous, if it's not dangerous, whatever, then it's not part of the conversation. But the point is that any danger needs to be accounted for and attended to if it's your responsibility. This is the implication of this powerful verse, but there's something else. If you noticed in the verse, it's a weird expression. It says, put up the guardrail so that you should not cause blood to be spilled in your house. Okay, that makes sense. We don't want any accidents to happen. Put up the guardrail. So far, so good. But look what the last part of the verse said. That the one who falls should fall from it. Not should. Well, okay, it says should. But what it means is, lest the one who falls fall from the roof. That's why you put up the guardrail, so that the faller shouldn't fall. If you notice, it's still weird, because it calls the person the faller. In the Hebrew, it's ki yipol hanofel mimenu. Lest the faller fall. What does that mean? Our sages tell us, the commentators explain, that the Torah is coming to be inclusive and include even the person who's being a little reckless on your roof. The faller, they're setting themselves up for a fall. And still, you have to go out of your way to make sure that even the faller should not fall. So even though they're doing cartwheels on your roof in middle of the winter while blindfolded after a few l'chaims, and you could say, hey, dude, that's on you. Nonetheless, your roof, your responsibility to put up the guardrail. And this becomes, again, another overarching theme and message for us, a moral imperative. Even when somebody is setting themselves up for danger, we're not allowed to idly stand by and allow that to happen or in any way be complicit in it. Right? We can't say, well, they're being reckless. Oh, well, I'm going to sit here with hands folded and watch it happen and pop some popcorn. That's not kosher. It's not cool. Now, again, this is talking about a person's own property, so there's a greater responsibility. But in general, the message here is even when somebody's being a little careless or worse, we have to step in and put up the guardrails to make sure they do not fall down. Okay, verse number 9, another interesting mitzvah. There's a lot of mitzvot in this week's Torah portion. I don't have my chumash with the number. Oh, Nasa, could you bring that, the Gutnick edition? I'm going to give you the exact number. The Gutnick edition chumash, which we use in Shul. So this one actually, at the end of all the 5 books, it gives you like a count of which mitzvot and how many are in each Torah portion. So this week's Torah portion, Teitzei, has a grand total of it's a lot. Wow. 74 mitzvot. Out of 613, this has 74. That's a lot. So you're going to find a lot of one law after the next law. So here we have the laws of the guardrail. Next, verse number 9. You shall not sow your vineyard together with a mixed variety of species, lest the increase, even the seed that you sow and the yield of the vineyard, both become forbidden. Again, a little complicated in the English. What it means is that if you sow the mixed seeds in your vineyard, then what will grow from it will be forbidden. Why? This is known as the laws of kilayim. Basically, God doesn't want us to mix different seeds together. Next, number 10. Here's a similar mitzvah, prohibition. You shall not plow with an ox and a donkey together. So if you have a field, this is before machinery. This is before farming machinery. They used animals. So if you have a plow, you can, and it's a 2-animal plow, 2 animals pulling the plow. Do not put an ox together with a donkey. Why? So it's interesting. So the basic reason for it, let's see if Rashi says something. Let's see. Okay, Rashi says the same law applies to any 2 species in the world, not to have them plow a field together. Similarly, this law also applies also to merely leading them together when they are bound to each other as a pair. So basically, in essence, what the Torah is telling us, for a few reasons, not to put these 2 animals together, or 2 animals together. Number 1, the ox can pull more than the donkey. So you're going to be stressing out the donkey and maybe even stressing out the ox. The ox is going to be annoyed. The plow is going to go in circles. None of this makes sense, right? You're pulling a plow with an imbalanced load. It's not good business, and it's not good for the animals. It's cruelty to animals. Number two, it also possibly is setting up a scenario where the 2 animals might start mating with each other, or might get a little too friendly. And Torah says that that's also not a thing. We don't crossbreed different species of animals together. It's not a thing. It's not kosher. It's not okay in Judaism. Verse number 11. Here again regarding mixtures. So we have mixtures, forbidden mixtures of the field, forbidden mixtures of the animals. Let's talk about clothing. You shall not wear a mixture of wool and linen together. Why? Simply speaking, it's a fashion faux pas. Who does that? Wool and linen? Are you kidding me? Fabrics? Linen is summer, wool is winter. Who's doing that? I'm kidding. That's not why it's forbidden. That was a joke, by the way. The reason why it's forbidden, the Torah says it's forbidden, we don't really know, but what we do know is that when Cain and Abel brought their sacrifices, the sons of Adam and Eve, so Cain and Abel. So Cain brought flax, and Abel brought sheep, and Cain ended up killing Abel because he was jealous that God had turned to his brother's offering and not his own. But the derivative of the flax and the sheep are wool and linen, and I guess the idea, one of the messages here is not to mix the 2. Either way, these are things that are a little bit beyond human intelligence. There are rationales given, but these are things that are called chukim. These are super rational decrees. Let's continue verse number 12. You shall make for yourself twisted threads on the 4 corners of your garment, with which you cover yourself. This is the mitzvah of tzitzis, of wearing the corners on the garments. Now, the next piece talks about a person who spins a negative rumor against his wife and says that she was, what's the word I'm looking for? She was, what's the infidelity? She acted with infidelity. I don't know what the right way to say that. Basically, he says she was unfaithful. She was unfaithful. That's what he claims. And basically, the scenario plays out. If it's wrong, if it's not true, then basically this guy is fined. There's a fine for making up a story or for spinning a tale that's not true. Okay. Talks about the sin of adultery here. All right. Talks about here the horrific situation of rape and the punishment for rape. And then it talks about other forms of relationships that are not cool. Anyway, amongst these relationships here, I want to focus on this verse number 4. You ready? It says, an Ammonite or Moabite shall not enter the assembly of the Lord. Even the 10th generation shall never enter the assembly of the Lord. So a person from the nation of Ammon or Moab is not meant to enter into the assembly, into the Jewish people. Even the 10th generation should not enter the assembly. Why not? Ready for this? Because what did they do wrong? They did not greet you with bread and water on the way when you left Egypt. And, secondarily, because the people of Moab, hired Balaam, the son of Beor, from Pithom and Aram Naharaim against you to curse you. Remember when they hired Balaam, the evil prophet, to curse the Jewish people? Well, that was at the hands of Moab. So we say the Ammonites and Moabites should not enter the assembly. Why? Because 2 reasons. Number 1, they didn't give you bread and water. And number 2, they tried to destroy you. Which sounds worse? The cursing, right? But for Jews, it's all about the food, right? Yeah, you cursed us, but you didn't give us food. Do you know what you did? There's no way. You are not coming into the Jewish people. Y'all didn't give us with the bread and water. That's it. We're done here. Nothing to talk about. No consideration. You want to convert? Not accepted. By the way, that's what it means to not come into the assembly. Even if someone wants to convert from those people, you don't accept the converts from those people. That's what the Torah says. By the way, today we obviously, maybe not obviously, I'll tell you, we don't know who is from Ammon, Moab. I mean, there are no pure Ammonite and Moabite lines anymore. That's long gone. So it's not applicable today in that sense, on a technical sense. But it is interesting how the Torah prefaces the rationale of the no bread and water before the idea of cursing. And I think what this speaks to is the Jewish value of hospitality, the idea of extending oneself to be hospitable. Okay, cursing is cursing, but hospitality, I mean, that's the Jewish way. Look, Jews have been known to get into fights, but you know what? We feed each other. At the end of the day, everyone's invited to the Kiddush. Okay, maybe we'll disagree about different things, but the bread and water and even more is always on tap. But the Lord your God did not want to listen to Balaam, so he transformed the curse into a blessing for you because the Lord your God loves you. Moses, again, this is Moses speaking to the people, once again, reminding the people how much God loves them. And then he says, finally, you shall not ever seek out their welfare or their good all your days. Now, what's important to remember, or not remember, but note, is this is referring to, and it's not maybe clear from the verse, but it's clear from the commentaries. This is only referring to a male, a man Ammonite or man Moabite. As our sages say, the prohibition against these converts is only against the Ammonite or Moabite, but not against the Ammonitess or Moabitess. The female Ammonite or female Moabite, a woman from the Ammon or Moab, is permitted to convert to Judaism and enter into the Jewish people. There is masculine language used in this prohibition. Furthermore, the idea of not greeting with the bread and water, that was a decision and something done by the men. The cursing, the hiring of Balaam was again by the men. The women were never complicit. The women were never involved in the acts of aggression and lack of feeding against the Jewish people. Thus, they are not excluded from conversion. This became a major, major, major piece of the story of Ruth. You guys familiar with the story of Ruth? So Ruth, essentially, there was a Jewish guy and a Jewish woman. They had a family. They had a few kids. They decided to move out of Israel. There was a famine. They moved out. They went to Moab, which was a neighboring country. And their 2 sons, end up marrying Moabite girls from the local families. In fact, according to our tradition, they were even princesses. They were like from royal families, whatever. So they married into these Jewish boys, and in short order, the father passes away, the two sons pass away, and all that's left is the widow, the mother of the two sons, and the mother-in-law, and the daughters-in-law. So three women are left. And so the woman, whose name is Naomi, she says to the daughters-in-law, whose names were Ruth and Orpah. These were their names, Ruth and Orpah. By the way, you know Oprah Winfrey? Oprah's given name was Orpah. I don't know if you know that. You can Google it. Oprah's name on her birth certificate is Orpah. She's named after this biblical character, this biblical figure, Orpah. But somehow the letters got switched, and whatever, she's known as Oprah. But her real name is Orpah. That's a little factoid for you. So Orpah and Ruth are the two daughters-in-law, the two Moabite girls that married the Jewish boys. Now, according to most commentaries, they converted before marrying into the family, whatever. But what's interesting is that when the husband and the sons, basically all the men, die out, there's no money, there's no income, there's no one to work at that. I mean, at that point, there was no one to work. So Naomi, the mother-in-law, says, "Look, I'm going back home to Israel. So you should stay here. You don't have husbands anymore. Go back to your families and find another husband, or let your parents take care of you." And they were princesses anyway. They were in royal families. So go back home. Orpah says, "Okay, I'll go back home." And Ruth says, "I'm not budging. Wherever you go, I go. Whatever you do, I'm going to do. I committed myself to Judaism and to the family, and I'm not letting go." And Ruth indeed went with her mother-in-law back to Israel, and she helped get money and collect money and whatever it was, and she ends up marrying Boaz, a Jewish guy, and whatever. The story is beautiful, and there's the book of Ruth. It's like a Megillah, like at the book of Esther. There's the book of Ruth, tells her story and all the details, and it's worthy to look it up whenever you have some time to read it. It's a beautiful story. It's a fascinating story. It's a love story, dedication, a lot of beautiful themes. Ruth ends up being the great grandmother of King David. King David and the Davidic dynasty come from Ruth and Boaz. She was a Moabitess, and there were people who claimed that she's not Jewish and she couldn't be Jewish, because the Torah says an Ammonite and Moabite cannot enter into the assembly of the Lord. Even if they want to convert, they're still not welcome, and they're never welcome. Not everyone knew amongst the community, casual, non-experts of the law. Not everyone knew about this law, that it only applies to the men, and not the males and not the females. And that became a teaching moment in Jewish history with the story of Ruth, that indeed the prohibition only applies to men and not to women. Ruth, being a Moabitess, being a female from the nation of Moab, was permitted to convert and join the Jewish people, and ultimately she is the bubby of King David and the Davidic dynasty and Mashiach. Mashiach comes from the same line. So very, very powerful stuff. A very powerful lineage and a very interesting and compelling story, the story of Ruth. But that always comes up when we read this verse, because this was the potential claim against Ruth and against her marriage to Boaz. And she only has she didn't have a child from her first husband, but she had a child from Boaz. And that child, who was that child? I don't know. I want to toggle Rashi. Let's see if Rashi cites the story at all. Let's see very quickly. No. Yeah, he shall not marry an Israelite woman. Just a he. But she is allowed to marry. Okay? Rashi adds here, I'm just looking at this. They didn't greet you with bread and water on the way. Rashi explains, when you were in a state of extreme exhaustion. Did they not know that you were hungry and tired, and they didn't come out with food? That's it. They're out for all time. Okay, so that's it for today. We have a relatively short reading with some interesting laws. The main laws that I wanted to share with you, just to recap, the laws of the Micah, the laws of the guardrail, which tell us about the idea of protection and making sure that we are not causing any liability for others, ourselves, or our property. Even someone who's careless, we have to be careful about. We talked about the prohibitions of various mixtures. The idea is that God created a structure, and we're not meant to abrogate that. We're not meant to mess that up. So God created different species of animals, different species of plants, and and we're not meant to mix the two realities together. Sometimes we are, certain things we are, but where Torah says not, it means that's a line that we're not supposed to cross. By the way, this not sewing two seeds together applies not only to vines, but to anything. Like a tangelo is like a tangerine and an orange. What's a tangelo? What's a tangelo made of? Whatever. There are different fruits that you can buy at the store, regularly accessible fruits that are actually mixtures. So are you allowed to buy them and eat them? Are they not kosher? Based on this verse, we're not supposed to sew them together. Does that mean that they're not kosher? So Jewish law says, no, it is kosher to eat. You just can't do the mixing. So that doesn't forbid the outcome of it. It just forbids the action of doing it. Once it's done, it's done. By the way, that's not the case with meat and milk, for example. Even if you don't do it, once it's done, that remains forbidden. Each one is a different law. Not all mixtures or forbidden mixtures are the same. Mark, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that a tangelo is a hybrid of a tangerine and a grapefruit.
Yes, makes sense. Joy, I just saw what Joy wrote in the chat. Obed, right? The son was Obed, and Obed's son was Yishai, Jesse. Jesse's son was David. So the great grandmother. Very cool. Sandrine, did you say something? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I say pamplemousse, which is grapefruit in French. Yes. That's your favorite LaCroix.
Favorite LaCroix, yes. By the way, I found out back in the day that LaCroix means the cross. Right? LaCroix means the cross. So I was thinking, should I not buy it? Should I not eat it? The cross, association, whatever. How many Jews have been, tortured because of... but then I figured, you know what? It's a seltzer. What are you going to do? Right?
And it refers to lacrosse, like the city. Because I look into it since we had that comment from a French guy, actually, a Rabbi.
Oh, right, that guy. Yeah, right. That guy was going, saying how.
He was offended that
he was offended.
Rashi was having LaCroix.
The guy who called himself Rashi. Yeah.
And he was French, of course.
Of course.
So I researched, and it's from lacrosse, the city somewhere. I forget what state or.
So wait, how do you pronounce it? LaCroix or lacrosse?
Lacroix.
Lacroix.
Yeah,
Lacroix.
Lacrosse.
Lacroix. No, I mean, that's how I would pronounce it.
From lacrosse, I have to see again. City.
Right. Makes sense. Someplace in Michigan, probably. Anyway, no, I think it's from the Midwest, actually. But it sounds exotic. Why not? Okay, so that's it. So we talked about the guardrails. We talked about not mixing things together. We talked about no libels, no messing around, no assaults. We didn't get into the details, but I mentioned that. And then we talked about Ammonite and Moabites and the importance of hospitality and taking care of people. Don't curse them either, but at least feed them. Start with the food, and then move up from there. And then, of course, we talked about Ruth and the beautiful lineage of King David. That's it for today. By the way, tomorrow, a sneak peek at tomorrow, we talk about the Egyptian and a very interesting law. I'm not going to share much with you. I'm going back to 3. I don't want you to peek too far. But tomorrow we talk about the Egyptian and other fun topics. What is our perspective on those that enslaved us, on those that tortured us for many, many, many years? What's our reflection on that and those people today and for all time? That's coming up tomorrow on the Daily Power Parsha. So, join me then. Join me tonight for the Jewish Course of Why. We have another wonderful class with a bunch of questions on set for tonight, or set for tonight. And then next Monday, of course, is Gemstones and Kabbalah, the jewelry workshop. You can get a beautiful kit, your own kit of jewelry.
So do you still have an opening?
Yes, we have a few left.
Still sign up?
I think we have like 4 pieces left. So it's really down to the wire. But it's still possible. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful gift for anyone else, or beautiful for yourself. So it's for yourself, for someone you love. It's fabulous. And Donna, thank you, Donna. It's gorgeous. Donna's going to be leading it. The jewelry part, I'll be talking about Kabbalah, and that's next Monday. The workshop is Monday, but you can get the kit anytime between now and Monday. And finally, what did I want to mention? Oh, we announced the dinner.
Shofar?
Sorry?
The shofar?
Shofar. Oh, yeah, let's blow the shofar. Oh, yeah, I'm going to get the shofar. Good. I'll do the shofar in a second, but we announced the dinner yesterday. Sent out an email for that. Dinner, this will be our virtual gala dinner. You'll get the dinner at home. We have an online program with musical entertainment and world-class speakers. It's going to be an amazing, amazing evening. So join us for that fun and excitement coming up on September 10th. Yes, Donna.
I know it said meat or fish. I mean, would you happen to know if it's like salmon and chicken or something?
There's 3 options. It's meat, fish, and vegetarian. And oh, do I still have my screen share? That's so random. Let me tell you.
The menu.
Let me tell you very quickly the menu. Then we're going to do the shofar, and then we'll close it out. So let me get the caterer. I don't have the full menu, but I can give you the mains. Yeah, it's either beef. It's actually beef, like a pulled beef, like a barbecue thing, or salmon, or a vegetarian is portobello, shroom, sauteed onion, like a vegetarian option. So 3 options. Yeah, we're making it accessible for everybody.
Yes.
And if anyone needs a customized menu, let me know. We can do that too. Why not?
Like the airline, right? Oh, we already have the kosher part.
Yeah, we got the kosher for sure. Okay, I'm gonna do the shofar. I'm gonna actually stop the recording because probably gonna be loud right in my microphone. So I want to spare folks in the podcast from that. Okay, so let's close that out, but we'll keep it on our live stream. I'm gonna do the shofar. So here we go. That's it. That's all she wrote.
Thank you.
My pleasure. My pleasure. You should have a great day and continue to find this month meaningful and transformative, and let the shofar continue to be a positive wake-up call and a call to action to do whatever we need to do to make things even better than they are right now. All right. See you later, all.
Is there a class tonight?
Yes, Ray, there is a class tonight at 8 p.m. And by the way, Ray, I emailed you. I'm going to be bringing over the kit in the next few days. I'll let you know when I'm coming by. Class tonight, 8 p.m.
Purple kit for Ray.
Yes, yes. I have a purple kit for you. Where? Somewhere. Hold on. Where's my? Oh.
What are the colors that are left?
We have red. We have the red, and we have the yellow green. Yeah. So the official names are I forgot the names.
Sunset.
Sunset.
Sunset and Oceanside.
And Oceanside. You see that? Sunset and Oceanside. It's beautiful names. I mean, who doesn't want a sunset or an Oceanside? I'm gonna take a few.
Sunset
and Oceanside. So that's it. Those are the ones that are left, and they're all gorgeous. I peeked a little bit. They're gorgeous. I mean, it's stunning. This is the kit for the Twilight. This is Twilight.
Very nice.
Ray,
nice.
This has your name on it.
Yeah,
Sandrine, you'll come by one of these days and pick it up, right?
Yes, I'm I'm waiting for the rain to.
No worries, no rush. It's we're I'm around.
It's not happening.
Not
the rain to stop it.
Not going too far. Okay, good. All right, we'll see you all hopefully later. If not later, tomorrow, and the party rolls on. All right.
Thank you, Rabbi.
See you, Donna. See you, Sandrine.
Bye.
See you, Mark.
Thank
See you, Ray.
you.
All right. Take care, everybody.